Composite with decimal. When I just put the stamina. You don't come for your seminar. You love with the criminal. You fit to the decimal. We are stamina.
Okay. Okay, welcome back. 10 minutes is up. And we're back here. How is everyone doing? Good. Let's expand this back. Do we have any questions? Anything that came up during the break that you'd like us to address? Not much? All right. So we've talked about the different types of libraries. Let's talk about frameworks, right? So with frameworks, how come I don't see? Okay. So I probably have to edit this. Yeah, I can't see it. That sucks. All right. Anyway, with frameworks, there are three main types of frameworks, right? There's the oops, where did I save? I thought I might have made the change somewhere else and I did not save it. Did I? Is that what happened? Yeah, let's see if I have that. I want to make sure it's not. Yep, I don't have it. That sucks. Anyway, yeah, so for frameworks, again, what are frameworks for per se? Frameworks are unlike libraries. Frameworks, they've already done everything for you. Almost everything, let me put it that way, right? Now you just have to do little bits and pieces to plug in some holes. So a library, when you're using a library in your code, you're calling the library. You import the library and call the library to be able to get some things done for you. But for a framework, the framework is already set up for you. The framework actually calls your code and gets some information from your code to add in those small holes that they have in the framework. So think about your house that you're building. You already have the structure. You have a platform, you have a foundation, you have all the different edges put together. Now you have to decide, are you going to use a metal or plywood or cement or mud? What are you going to use for the structure? You have to also decide, am I going to use white paint, blue paint, yellow paint, and so on and so forth. All those little things that you just plug in to make up your structure to be specific to your needs. So that's what a framework is. So different types of frameworks that you see. There's obviously the full stack framework. So it has everything already, one-stop shop or one-stop solution for all your development requirements. Now, frameworks for Python, what we're talking about are going to be web frameworks. So when you create your application, you want it to be on the web, or when you create something, you want it to become a web application, then you use Python framework to develop that very easily. You don't have to start from scratch. They've done the basic backbone work for you. So the full stack is the first type that you're going to encounter, and another framework that you'd see is ones that are lightweight. Okay, so the lightweight frameworks are usually, where's my cursor? If I can find it, that would be good. Micro, because they are not macro, they are micro. So micro frameworks, bold. Stack framework or micro framework. Micro framework again is lightweight, and you don't get all these additional features, all these different, oh my goodness. Okay, you don't get these additional functionalities and features. So one of them, the ones that we're going to look at today, is Flask. So we're going to try building a web app using Flask to be able to get our job done for us. And finally, you have the asynchronous type of frameworks. Asynchronous frameworks are micro frameworks. type that out, asynchronous framework. So these are micro frameworks, but they are able to handle large sets concurrently. So normally micro frameworks do one thing at a time, but with asynchronous frameworks, think about something that's not necessarily parallel, but you can sit and wait for one service or one task to be completed, and then the next one kicks off, and so on and so forth. So an example again is Growler for this one. But like I said, it's good that we should take a look at Flask, just like we took a look at Pandas, to be able to understand how that framework works. For you to understand this, you probably need a little bit of background information about web development. So with web development, is everybody here familiar with web development? What are the building blocks? I believe so.
Not me.
Okay, so web development, you have three main keys for web development to actually take place. Unfortunately, I don't have my stuff here, but for web development, the three things you need are HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So HTML per se is like, let's go back again with the analogy of a house. HTML is a builder, right? So the builder is going to build the structure of the house. So HTML is going to, I need to get this caps off on. So HTML is a builder, which is going to give you the structure of the house, right? CSS is the beautifier, or let's say, I don't want to say designer. Let's use that, okay? So they do the styling, okay? So your structure of your house, how many bedrooms, how many living rooms, how many bathrooms, and corridors, balconies or porches, garage, and so on and so forth. You build that structure. That's what HTML does. It builds the structure of your page, your website, and so on and so forth. CSS will then make sure that you do all the styling and placement, layouts, and so on. JavaScript is more or less like the wizard, right? So in that case, JavaScript actually brings it to life. You know, the plumbing, the lighting, and all these other pieces of information in there that you need. So let's say lighting and plumbing. So does that help out, Aaron, a little bit? Awesome, awesome. So yes, when you build a website, you have to come up with some kind of structure of the website. You know, the page is going to have, you know, these dimensions, or there's going to be this piece at this angle, and so on and so forth. I'm going to have about us page. I'm going to have contact us page. Contact us page will have a form. It will have a map. The about us page will have a picture of the team members and the different services that we provide in a table, and so on and so forth. That makes up the HTML. CSS will now come in and say, I need the background to be yellow. I need the background to have this picture. I need the picture to be located so and so. I need the font of this heading to be this color and this size. I also need the font of each paragraph to be this size, maybe consistent. I need the background of this color. I need to highlight this. I need to underline that. All of that is all CSS. Maybe I need to shift it to one corner and so on. So you can have, CSS does not do anything with content. All the content is with HTML. Okay. So structure and content with HTML, styling and layout with CSS. Meanwhile, JavaScript will just make sure, hey, give me a pop-up. When I click on this button, send my form to this email. When I click on this, let this action happen, and so on. So that is the action that actually takes place on the page. Maybe you want to connect from one page to another, or send an email, or send a notification, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's a big picture of what web development is. And the main thing there is that these web pages are connected, right? So we have the internet. Internet is the connection of my computer to my cell phone, to your computer, to your cell phone, to the neighbor's computer, to the other computer, and so on and so forth. So it's an internetwork of computers. Computers, again, are not just desktops or tablets. They are also cell phones, watches, and all whatnot. Even the cameras that you have, they are connected on the internet. So the internet is worldwide. The network within your house is connected to the network of your neighbor through your ISP, your internet service provider, and your entire neighborhood is connected to the internet. Your entire city, the entire country is connected, and another country and all our countries in the world are all connected in the internet. But the World Wide Web, okay, so let me go internet, that's us, World Wide Web. The World Wide Web is the interconnection of the web pages, okay? So this web page, my web page, is connected to CNN's web page through a link, because I have a link on my web page that connects to CNN. CNN has a link on their page that connects to Facebook. Facebook has a link that connects to another website, and so on and so forth. So all these websites are connected to one another, which makes up the World Wide Web. Okay, so the World Wide Web now is the interconnection of all these websites, and each web page needs these three key factors to be able to create them. So the web page then will have a URL, the HTML document, and the particular resources that it's actually using to connect. But all of those need what is known as a protocol. HTTP. HTTP is a protocol which stands for hypertext transfer protocol. So that's HTTP. As you can tell, it's similar to HTML, which is hypertext markup language. Okay, so HTTP, HTML. You need HTTP, which is a protocol. It's just a set of rules saying get to the network and so on, connect to this socket and so on and so forth. Move this based on the IP address. We all know what IP address is. IP address is the particular location of a device or a resource on the internet. So HTML is a resource. Another resource could be pictures, it could be audios, it could be videos that are linked together. And all of those need to be the ingredients of a World Wide Web. Now, that said, in order for us to create a website, we can use Flask, right? Flask, again, is a development environment that we can use. But for us to get started, one thing that you'll notice is that your computer is different from mine. Everybody's computer is different. So we need to create some kind of environment that's going to be unique for our Python code. Okay, so when we talk about getting an environment, it's called a virtual environment. So one thing that you'd see, let me see if I can open a new folder here. And oops, not in there, out here. Let's call it Flask. See if I can spell correctly. Okay, let's call it Flask. So within this Flask, I want to create a virtual environment. Okay, so let's go to my terminal and then clear this. And what I need to do is, let's go to a bash terminal, for instance. Let's see, print working directory. I'm in a Python code. Let me change to Flask. So now I'm in the Flask folder. So what I need to do is create a virtual environment for Python. So what is a virtual environment? You get to hear that quite often. So it's not like a virtual machine, right? It's not like a virtual machine that you have to get hardware that matches what you need, allocate memory and so on and so forth. A virtual environment is just a container, or rather, it's not a container, it's just a folder that's going to have all the different pieces, different things, runtime, or so on that you need to run your Python code. Okay, so by using this virtual environment, we make sure that our application is a unit, modular per se, so that it separates it from every other thing, all the different versions. So when you want to package it and send it out for someone else to use it, you just give them that environment. They already have all the things that they need. So the best practice, you should always use an environment when you're working with Python, because you don't know what the other person is going to be using for their machine. Maybe they have a different version of Python, and then your application is not going to work. So creating an environment is usually the best way to get your files or get your code to work perfectly, smoothly, without any headache. Okay, but it's very easy to create an environment. As you can see here, I'm using Bash, Born Again Shell, in my Mac. So simple piece of code. Let me clear this actually. Simple piece of code you need to write is just Python, obviously. And I want to make a virtual environment. All right. I'm going to call my virtual environment venv. That's totally fine. So once I create that, now my virtual environment is going to be created, and it's going to create a virtual environment in Python 3.1. Everybody good? So with that, now I can go ahead and say, go into that virtual environment and activate it. To activate it, I need to run a script that's going to be able to activate it. Spell correctly. Okay, so activate that. Oops. What did I miss here? The code is not found. So now I am in Flasks, blah, 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 blah. Let's try it again. Python virtual environment. Make sure it's created correctly. It looks like it didn't create it. Oh, it did create it. There it is. I can see it. Never mind. All right. So since it created it, now I need to activate it. To activate it, I need to go into. Oh, it's inside. No, I think I went to the wrong place. So yeah, to activate it, I need to use source dot b environment, and it should be in the bin folder, and there should be an activate in there. Excellent. Now it's activated. Okay. Once I activate it, now I can go in here. Right there, I can see my virtual environment. Once I'm in there, I need to create a new file. That file is going to have everything that I require. So everything that needs to be imported into my code. Okay. So in here, I can go ahead and let me maximize this. Awesome. Here, I can go ahead and create a new file. And I'm going to call it requirements. Requirements.txt. An empty file. The things I'm going to require is I'm going to require Flask. I'm going to require Python environment. I'm also going to require, I'm going to be pulling stuff from the internet, so I need requests. And that's it. I save that, I close it. Everything is fine. So now, if I want to go ahead and install everything that I've added in this requirements file, I can use what is known as PIP, right? And what is pip? Is anyone here familiar with what pip is? No? So pip is a management tool that you use to install packages, okay, in Python. So now that I want to install packages, those 3 packages that I need to install, rather than running one by one, I'm just going to use pip install. So if I go ahead and type pip install, and want everything in the requirements. Now I need to return back to my terminal. I cannot spell. Why is it not giving me? Okay. Requirements.txt. So with that, when I run that, it's going to install all of that for me. Sounds good. Let's see how long it takes for it to install everything. Hopefully it's quicker. The machine is slowing down a lot. All right, so that's going to install everything. Oops, could not open, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So did I type it wrong? Did I spell it correctly? Could not open requirements file. Okay, that's a problem. Did I spell it correctly? Yeah. No such file requirements.txt. All right, so let's see. Print working directory. Oh, that's because I'm not in the virtual environment, that's why. All right, so now I'm in there. I should be able to install that. All right, so yeah, I had to switch into that folder to be able to install it. There you go. It's downloaded and installed everything. And once everything is updated, I should be good to go. Now, what is Flask? Flask is an open source web framework, right? We did say it's a micro framework. So it means that, it will perform only required tasks of the framework. It's not going to do everything for us. So it will help us in responding to user requests with different routes. It's going to use the get and post method, which is something that we can talk about in detail, but that's something that JavaScript uses to be able to get information and post information. Very important though is it's going to create a template for us, so we don't have to start typing HTML, CSS, and all that stuff. Okay, so HTML is a language that structures that information. CSS is for styling and layout, but we don't need to create each page at a time. We're going to dynamically create those using Python. Okay, so what we need to do then is maybe just create a welcome page, and we should be able to use a template that should do that for us. Okay, sounds good. Everybody good so far? Am I confusing anyone yet? Yes, no? All right, so let's go now into our core application. Now we need to create a Flask application, right? So let's go ahead and create a new file, and we're going to call that file app.py. Where is, sorry, go back in here. This is where I want to be. New file, we're going to call it app.py. So that's a Python file that we created, right? For that Python file, what we'll need to do is we're going to say from Flask, we're going to import a bunch of things. And then we're going to give our app a name. So let me put that code in here for us. From Flask, we're going to import this and that and so on and so forth, and we give our information a name. Right now it's saying that cannot be resolved. That's fine. Okay, after we've done that, we need to add a route to the name where it's going to go to. So let's add a route, and in here we're going to add a route, and yeah, so it's telling us that when you get here, you go ahead and pull the HTML document, but we don't have an HTML document yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and use a template that has an HTML document. So what I need to do then is create a folder and call it templates. Let's go ahead and do that. Create a folder here, call that templates. In that folder, I'm going to create that index document, index.html. Now, index.html, I post this piece of code, which just tells me, again, I'm going to be translating a bunch of files or a bunch of text from one, let's say, one language to another, per se. And these are the different languages that I'm going to be using. Okay, I'm not sure about Italian, so let me go ahead and change that to French. Spell correctly. Actually, that's fine. I'll leave Italian in there. I'm just going to add French. I forgot how to copy. So let's make this French. And FR. Okay. So again, this is what HTML file looks like. The HTML file has a head, tells you the character sets, the viewport, and so on and so forth. Title is the most important. Let's see, Python translator. Let's call it that. That's the head, the title that you're going to see on the tab and also on the beginning of your page. So it has a head section and a body section. This body section is what actually displays on the page. So it has a container that has H1. I'm going to change that name to Python Translation Service. It says you should enter a text that you need. It uses a post method, has a form in here, and the form has a group of information and so on and so forth. Okay, I don't want you to worry about all of that. At the end of the day, we have a button that's going to have a text called translate, and then we can create that button and do all fun stuff in there. So what we need to do now is maybe test our application. Okay, so to test our application, we go out there and export our application to the Flask environment. So a quick typing in export Flask environment is equal to development. Enter. Looks like it's exported just fine. Now all we have to do is flask.1. We run that and see what happens. So it looks like it's still loading up, pulling all the information it needs, and then it should be able to launch our page. Fail to run Flask factory, blah, 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 app name to specify. All right, so I'm missing a piece here. What did I miss?
The development in the environment that you spelled, does it matter?
Yes, it does matter.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's export that. My typos are killing me here. So it still did not find it. Okay, I think there's something that I missed from the onset. I'm not sure if I gave my app a name. That's probably something that I was supposed to do from the onset. Let's see. Welcome, blah, 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 blah. So do I have an app name here? Where's my index file? That's my index file. Where's my app file? That's name. Yeah, it's an issue with this here. Fail to find Flask application in factory in a module. Use app name to specify one. Okay, let's see. I have to double check my notes. What did I miss? What did I miss? Okay, that should at least be able to call that file. So it did not call it. Let's see. Okay, we have a template. Welcome, blah, blah, blah. Nope. Okay. Continue. Make sure that I got everything here. So I have my index, I have my app route. That's good. Copy that, testing it. I'm missing something. Okay. So to open that application, let me see if it's going to open up actually. If I want that, let me escape from here. So let's see. Paste that in there. Nope, that's not what I want. I need to put in localhost 5000. Let's see if that comes up. Nope, it's not in there. So it's definitely not running. And I'm missing something here. All right, so in that case, let me go ahead. I already created a copy of this file, so let me go ahead and try using that instead and make sure that it runs, and I'll be able to see what the issue is. I must have missed a step real quick. So right there, I'm going to download that. Okay. Okay, so render template looks good. App route looks good. App name is good. The new folder is good. And okay, so let's go back to my code then. That looks like it's good too. All right, so let me open a different version of this file and see if that works out. So let's open this. Did I not? I thought I did. Okay, it's opening up. Let's open that. And now I can add that to my workspace. Open folder. There we go. All right, so yeah, let me open that, but then that's pretty much it. Once you do that, it's as easy as, yeah, that's good. Insert, let's see, open, no, that's not what I want there. I want this one, there you go, downloads, virtual, let's go to V, there you go. So I want to open that, excellent. Okay, save all, that's fine. And shut down everything else. Okay. So it's going to take a minute to shut these down. There you go. Okay. So once that's done, I'll show you an example of one that I did. Again, I know I missed something. I definitely missed a step, and I'm pretty sure it's a typo here and there. That always is the case. Later, I don't want to upload this now. I trust the authors. That's fine. Okay. So here's an example of the file. That's my library. That's a Python environment. Did I miss something else? I probably did. It's a configuration file. Okay. Yep, I did miss it again. That sucks. Okay, so these are all, as you can see, this is a library with everything that is needed for the site packages. And that's Flasks, normalization, pip, and so on. So let's go ahead and try activating this. Terminal, new terminal. Okay. It's still taking its bloody time to get ready. Okay. Okay, so bash. That's good. It's gonna load up in a minute. Nope, it's still going. I don't want to split it yet. No problems. Output is good. I should have run it side by side actually. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, I think I might end up having to do a separate recording to create this for you. That way I don't have to rush it. But let's see, going back again from scratch, that has been created. What do I need to do here? Okay, so the environment is set up. I've exported it. In order for me to do that, let's go ahead and do Python. Typing, can't get any text. Okay, I think it's still loading up. Machine is so slow. This is not even good. Okay, nothing is going in there. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, let's see if I split that. No. Okay, so there it is. Now it's ready. All right, so let's activate that source. It's still not going. Okay, the source v environment. Oh, I think it's already activated because I created it. Okay, let's try pip install. Requirements document is not there either. I think I have the wrong file in here. But in essence, let's try running this again and see if I can create a new one altogether. So let's go print working directory. And I can delete this first one. Okay, so I'm in downloads virtual environment. That's fine. And let's go ahead and create a new one. To create a new virtual environment, I'll go ahead and do Python and make virtual environment. And let's see the environment. So now we're going to create a new one. That's a new one that has been created. Once all the bells and whistles are all set, it's going to give me my next prompt. There's my next prompt. Now I need to activate it. To activate it, I need source under virtual environment in a binary, activate, and it's activated. Once it's activated, I should now be able to create code dot. Okay, I'm already in Visual Studio Code, so that's good. Let's go ahead again and create that new file for requirements. Requirements.txt. We know our requirements are going to be Flask, Python.environment, and request. Save those, close that. Now that we've done that, we know we need to do pip install. But first, let me change into the directory. Now I can do my pip install. Requirements.txt. Install everything, and I should be good. Okay, hopefully everything gets installed correctly. Looks like we're good. It's just warning us that we might need to get an upgrade, but no worries, we don't really need an upgrade for this. So let's see if we create an HTML file. We need that syntax. I don't really need to test that out yet, but let's go ahead and see. To create our core application, we need to add a route for our application. And we also need to create a HTML template for our site and test the application. So creating the route. Did we install Flask? Because that's the one thing that would cause us an issue if we don't have it. Flask, is Flask in there? Let me double check in the library. Yep, Flask is in there. Excellent. All right, So let's go ahead now, and within this we want to create our application. To create our application, let's go ahead and create a new file and call it ap app.py. App.py. Okay, that's good. I think this is what we had an issue with. The last one, it didn't work because Flask was underlined. So now it looks good. I think we did not install Flask the last time, or did not import it correctly. But now we've been able to import it, and we just need to add the route. The route has been added. Now we need to create an HTML document similar to what we created before, right? So let me save this. It's saved. We needed to create a new folder to have our templates. Within that template, we needed an index.html document. Index.html document. Nope, we should have information that we copied over already. So this should be good. That's all we needed. Now we should be able to test the application. Let me save this. To test our application, let's go back here and export. Export Flask environment to development. It looks good. Now we can run the application flask.1, and it should be positive this time. Yep, it's good. So now it's running. For us to get to it, we need to click on this link. If we click on this link, it's going to open our environment, and this is what we have. Sounds good? So let me go ahead and look at this side by side with our code, so that you can see that every change that I make is going to be updated live. If you look at the drop down, we have English, Italian, Japanese, Russian, German. That is coming from our code in here. So let me show you this. Now I want to add French in there. Let's go ahead and add French and change this to have FR. Also, I want to change this to say Python translation service. If I save that, you should be able to refresh this. Okay, why is it not refreshing? What did I miss? Okay, that means I have to kill it and come back on. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and kill that, and then go back again. It's running. Come on, come on. Follow the link. I don't think it's still updated. Okay, so I need Control C to quit. Let's go back out there. Excellent. So now we've been able to see what it looks like. Now, if we want to go ahead and do the real translation to work out, that's as easy as creating a Python. This is how you go about using Python to create a web application. So with that, we've been able to create a web application. Again, all we need to do in order for us to run it, you say flask.1, execute. It pops up a new file for us. So once that's there, come on, click. It should tell me follow link, and then you can see it says Python translation service. If I click on the drop down, now we have French. It won't be able to translate because I haven't had anything tied to it yet. Okay, so to have it tied to it, in that case, I'll have to go into my what do you call it? My Azure portal. Okay, so I already did this earlier. I went into my Azure portal, created a cognitive service that I can use. Okay, so now we should be able to go in the, where is it? Flask AI. And in there, I created a cognitive service, if I can find it. This is the translator. And I probably need to copy. What I need is the key. Okay, so it says here keys and endpoints. That's what I need in order for me to be able to do it. So I created a translator service that I can use. And from there, if I copy out the key and information, I should be able to use that to be able to run my stuff. So let me copy this key. Once I copy the key, I can now go and create a new text, okay, new file. And let me go back into my code. What I need to do now is create a new file in there, but I don't want this file to be accessible to anyone that's looking at my code. So when I create the file, I'm going to add with a period. It makes it to be hidden, okay? So .env is going to be the name of my file. Within that file, I'm going to have stuff like my key. The key is equal to what I copied from there, right? I also have endpoint. Endpoint, I need to go back here and grab it. Where is my endpoint? I think this is my endpoint. Copy that. And the location is East US 2. So let me go ahead and add my endpoint. And the location is equal to East. You know what? Let me just copy it. I don't want to make a mistake. And that's my location. So with that, I've been able to create that link that is used on the cloud, use the cognitive resource services in the cloud to be able to do that. Okay. So let's see. To be able to add that service, I need to go back now into my app.py code and make sure that I include that piece of information in there. Okay. So at the very top, I want to go ahead and also import request, import the dot environment, and then load it, and I should be good. And then import the rest of that. Also at the bottom, I need to be able to add information or lines of codes to be able to point me to that endpoint, the key, and the location that I created at the top. Okay, so it's not a lot of code, but let me go ahead and add it as well. You'll see here a few things that are done. I read the values from the form. The form has a text, the form has a language. I set them into these variables. I load my values from my environment file to give me the key, the endpoint, and the location. And then I'm also able to get that path pulled out and so on and so forth. Okay. So from here, I can go ahead and create a template to display my results, because this first template is just having the input, but I have to have my results somewhere. Okay, so to have those results somewhere, I need to create another file that would say results.html. I already have that code ready as well. What it's going to do is it's going to show a results header, and it's going to get information from my original text, and then it's going to have a translated text, which is what is from here. So if I go back into my code application, I should see translated text is then gotten from a JSON response that I've used. Okay, so that translated text is what's going to be displayed in there, and it's going to give me the same URL going back to my index file if I want to translate again. Okay, now we can go back and test our page. The page was still running, so I'm going to do Control-C to close that page. And then this is my page. I can go ahead and refresh it. Now it's dead because I closed it. But if I go back and actually let me make them be side by side. Let's use that. Okay, the page is dead. Now I've made all the changes. Save that. Let's go ahead and fire it off again. Flasks.1. If I do flasks.1, once it's done running, it should tell me. Still waiting for the result to come back. Environment, there it is. So it's up and running. So let me go back here and refresh. Come on. Okay, looks like I have to kill this one altogether. And then go back here, follow the link. No, it's not working. Access is denied. Okay, what did I miss? No, oops, there you go. I have to save this. I have to save all of that. Okay, so let's see. Let's kill this and then run it again. Yep, unfortunately, I did not save all my files as I'm supposed to. So let's run it one more time. Yep, always important to save your files, and you can always see there's a white dot at the tab if you don't save your files. Let's refresh this. It's still not working. What am I missing this time? Come on, come on, come on, come on. All right, so it did not work again. So what did I miss this time? Come on, come on, come on. Okay, Control C to kill that. And then try it. I want to make sure I've saved everything that I. Oops, I didn't save this one. That's why. Good job. Okay, save that, save that, save this, save that, and save that as well. Okay, let's go back to that. Now I can run it one more time. This time around, it should work just fine. All right, come on, come on, come on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And still not. That is a bummer. Okay, so I don't know why it's not running again. After those changes, it should definitely be working. So I'll run through this again and see why it's giving me a hard time. But the only thing I can think of is the key. Maybe I need to change the key and use another key. In that case, let me try changing it. But at least it should still open up my file. So I'm unable to open the file. That's not good. I'm missing something. Okay, the app looks good. Let's see. Yeah, for some reason it's not working. So I'll try this out again and let you know. But that's how you go about, trying to create a service. Again, it's simple to just go ahead, use Flask, create your Python, create your HTML code, and then make your changes and expand it as you need. And from there, it should be good. But for some reason, my code is being problematic. When you always demo live, you always have issues. Otherwise, I could have just used the code that I already had to pull everything all at once. But this is unfortunate that I'm unable to run it. The key, let me double check again. Quickly. That's good.
Is there any difference between using key 1 and key 2 that you have on the console?
Not really. I think it's mostly if one key is actually, let me try that. Mostly if one being problematic. Yes, question.
Yes, I think the key should be in string. The key, the endpoints.
Very good point. I thought about that, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I think it should be in string, and then you just try to change it in string format.
Okay, let me
Like put them in quotes.
Yeah, that seems about right. So let me go ahead and okay, let me see. I don't think it should be in quotes though, but in that case, let me try. I doubt if it has to be in quotes. Yeah, but yeah, it sounds right for it to be in quotes. But let's see if I save that and then I'll go ahead and run this again. That will be wonderful. Okay, load up, load up, load up. Let's make this smaller. Okay, it's good. Let's refresh this. Yep, it's still not going. Let's see. All right. Come on, give me a follow link. There you go. Ah, there you go. That works. Perfect. Now let's see if our translation is going to work. This was difficult. Say this is very difficult. We're translating it to French. French, because I can tell if it's right or wrong. Translate. Original text says this is difficult. My translated text says c'est très difficile. And the target language is French. So yeah, we finally got it to work. All I had to do was make sure that it was in a string format. If I want to try another one, I click on that, it takes me back, it routes me back to this page. Python is wonderful. We are having fun. See if we can translate this to German. Hopefully somebody in here knows German. Python is wunderbar, right? Does that sound right? Does anybody here know German?
Yeah, I think that looks good.
Okay, all right. So let's try to translate it from German to French and see what happens. We translate that. Python est merveilleux, on s'amuse. So yeah, when you do that, it automatically detects what language you're coming from, and then it gives you another language. So this, again, it took us about 30 minutes because we're fumbling through, having issues with my text strings here. So having to put this as text was very important in order for it to work. That's where my issue was the entire time. And all we needed was these HTML pieces of code with the different divisions in there. One showing us the original text, another the translated text, and the language that is coming from, and a URL pointing us back to our index. And the index again has a container. Within the container, you have Python translated, blah, blah, blah. You have some text in there. H1 tells you it's a header 1, and then you create a form. Within the form, you have a group of information, you have a text area, and then you have a form group which has a drop down which is created using the select tag. So a label that says language and then a tag that has a drop down with all these values. So that's all HTML, which is outside the scope of what we did. All we needed to do was, type our stuff in here. In here, we're able to say import whatever we need from load.environment. We got our stuff from the environment. We're able to use Flask to import, redirect, and all whatnot. Created the name of our app. We use a get method, the post method, that's all HTTP stuff, hypertext transfer protocol. And we are able to use information from the form. The form has a text field. The form has a language field. The language field is those different languages that are chosen. So from there, it tells us the target language is either French, German, blah, blah, blah. The original text is coming from that text field, and so on and so forth. So it's as easy as that. We didn't need to write a lot of code. We wrote just a little bit of code. We just grabbed everything else from the platform, or should I say from the framework, all right? So that's a quick example of how we went ahead to create a web page using Flask and other little things that we're able to tie in there to be able to do some translation from whatever language to another, all by using Python. Sounds good?
Prof, in the code, can you go back a line 29?
Okay.
Where you were? Yeah, 29. So the endpoint is the one you're getting from Azure, correct?
That is correct. So that is my end.
Yeah, so there is a JSON code associated with that endpoint, which is helping in doing the translation.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's what does the translation. And you can see that in, let me expand this. You can see that in your content type. It's telling you that it's going to give you a JSON content. And when you get it back, that's what it's going to use. The body of the text is the original text. When you get your request, you post that information. It uses that body as the JSON. It uses the headers from there to post it. And then it gets a response. The response that it gets is also a JSON format. So again, think about that API. My application is sending the information to the application there on Azure. It's giving me back a response. I post a message, it gives me back a response all over HTTP. When it gives me back that response, I use JSON, pass it back into this translated response. So within that response, unfortunately, I don't have the full text in here, but if you go through that API again, it's going to give you the full JSON text. Within there, there is a key for translations. So the translations is going to be, where is it? Nope, that's not what I want. Target language is what I needed. So it gives me all the translations, and then it's going to pick out a text from it. When it picks out that text, I want to be able to return that from the template and give that value to my results.html. In there, I'm just passing those values. Translated text is translated text, original text is that, so that when I get into this results page, I can use those same values, original text, translated text, target text. Every time you see this double curly parentheses, curly braces, it's telling you that in there, give me my Python variable. So this is a Python variable, this is another Python variable, this is another Python variable. You're using that to add it into your HTML document. This is going to be in bold, that says original text, translated text, target text, but everything else is going to be not bold. But yeah, it's definitely giving you back information in JSON format. You're also sending it out there in JSON format. So you send it in JSON format, and the response is giving in JSON format. Sounds good?
Yeah, Prof, I see that you are authenticating to Azure to curl that API. Is it open source or is it generic to Azure?
It is in this case it's open source, but obviously AWS, if I'm understanding you correctly, can you do this with AWS and GCP? Yes, they all have their cognitive services. It just happens that I have an Azure account and it's easier for me to use Azure to create it. So if I can find my, where is it? I lost it. I thought I just opened it right now. Sorry, I can't find it. There it is. Yeah, so I have my Azure account. I was able to go in there to create a cognitive services easy. So if I go in and start typing cognitive services, click on there, it tells me, okay, what do you want to do? Right now, I already have, OpenAI and all whatnot. You can create speech services, whatever kind of service you need, and so on. but what I needed was translator, right? So in the translator, I created this DK Flask AI. The name helps me understand that, hey, I'm using a Python and it's for DK and so on and so forth. Depending on the industry you're working, you might have a different naming convention, how you want to use it. This is a location where it's at, you know, if you click on it, it gives you more details about it and so on and so forth. But I don't need all those details. Obviously, I'm using a free tier pricing. So I can go ahead and use this application that I've created here and put it on the internet and say, anybody that wants to translate, go to my service and do it, you know. But it's a free tier. It means, oops, I lost it again. It means I have a cap, right? I cannot use it forever and ever. If I start having many people going on there, then they're going to need me to start paying for their subscription and so on and so forth. So does that make sense?
Yes, great, thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah, so each one of the not APIs, each one of the cloud providers, you can easily go there and create your own translator service. Again, all I have to do is click create. You know, once it decides to create one, I give it the particular information I need, give it a name, subscription, and so on and so forth. So it's still thinking right now. I'm going to cancel it anyway because I already have one. So I give it a subscription, give it a resource group, decide what region it should go to, you know, the name, pricing tier. Those are all, you know, easy stuff. Let's say I'll use the same one I used. Region, let's go to West 2, name, DKAI Flask. Oops, it's not going. Flask AI 2, pricing tier. I'm going to go back again to my free pricing. And that's it. I review and create. All I need from there, once I've done that, let me go ahead and cancel it. All I need after I've done that is just go in. Once I'm in my translator, I can go ahead and get to my keys and endpoints. That's what I'll need to use in my code. Once I have my keys and endpoints, I copy them, use them in my code, I'm good to go. So this is for document translator. Let's see, what do we have there? So there, it gives you information. Right now, there's nothing that has been translated. So resource not found, message, blah, 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 blah. If I go ahead and open, I'm not sure if I still have that window open somewhere. Nope, I do not. Yeah, I don't have it, but otherwise you can use that to be able to keep track of what is going on in your code, what is being translated, and so on and so forth. Sounds good?
Great. If you were not, you mentioned in the class that the reason you are using a Python environment is so that once you send this code to another person, they can run it, you know, without or less issues. So if you were to do this, you would just zip this whole thing, and in your README, you will, you will remove your key and maybe your endpoint and say replace this with your own key and your environment and all of that, and zip it and send to them.
Yes, that would be the manual way of doing it. But once you're on a team, you probably need a
source control environment.
Right? Which I do have one. Yes. If I go ahead and say publish to GitHub, what I've already done, let's see, let's do public. If I do public, it's going to grab all of that, publish it there, and I click OK. And that's good. I can also publish it on Microsoft Azure, right? The link is all that's needed, and then you can go in and do whatever needs to be done. So now it's going to push everything up to the cloud. And then from there, I can use actions. Now we're getting into DevOps. I can use GitHub actions to be able to make sure that, hey, any changes that I do right here on my local machine gets pushed over, and then anyone can see it on the cloud. Does that help?
Yes, I understand that piece. But the dot how did you the hidden file that contain your credentials?
Yes,
Are you using like dot ignore, or you don't care whether it should go to cloud or not? It's just gonna automatically ignore pushing that dot env file?
Very, very good question. Once you use the .env, it automatically ignores it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but then if you want to be super sure, you want to go ahead and save that in your, add it in the ignore folder. That way it's definitely ignored.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, very good observation.
Some good stuff here.
Yeah, so yeah, it's good. The main thing, again, like I said, is understanding your Python code, because if you get someone that has done all of this, all you have to do then is, say, hey, my code is broken. I don't know why this is not working. The translation was working just fine. Now it's not working. Or can you go ahead and add another another language in our translator so that we can have multiple languages and so on? You shouldn't be scared of anything. I mean, we just did a crash course on web development. You don't need to really understand web development. The key here is, I'm using Flask and so on and so forth. You created an environment. We know for a fact that each time we come in here, we can check our requirements file. These are the things that we imported. To import it, you just use your pip install. It imports it. Your environment has all those stuff, and you can see them in here in your libraries. These are all the things that you're using within that environment, which is pretty much just a folder. Okay, these are the things that are included. And then you have your binary files. That's what actually gets executed when you are running your code. So that's it. Everything else, HTML, CSS in here. We don't have any styling. If we wanted to style our code, then in our templates, we'll have a CSS folder to make it beautiful, blah, 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 blah. But right now we have black and white. All right. So we've gone over our time again. It's the last day. And sad to see you guys go, but what other questions do you have? Any last minute questions? Nigel, are you good? You're still on mute.
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks, bro.
Awesome. Fabian, how about you?
Yeah, definitely. You do not see me in the last two classes or so. I started a PhD program and it crashed with this. So so it's not easy. But you did a great work. I see you keep uploading the videos to the Google Drive and YouTube, which I will definitely catch up.
Excellent.
But Prof, if anywhere I could contact you in the back end, but
anytime.
If I wanted to I just need to appreciate what you are doing for the community. Okay. No issues. I will contact you directly. Let me not put it yet.
Yes,
yeah, no, this is awesome. This is great. Yeah.
So yes, and Bai, how about you? Are you working right now?
Yes, I was. Yeah, I'm at work, still at work, but
okay.
Yeah, I was flowing in the background too.
That's
yeah,
good.
I really appreciate it too. Yeah, maybe when you have downtime, you just send me your YouTube. I don't think I have it.
Yes, that's right. I haven't sent it to you. My bad.
Yeah, so I will just kind of review some of the lectures later.
Excellent.
Thank you for your effort. I really appreciate it.
No, anytime.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So, yeah. Mr. Aaron, how about you and your crazy weather out there, man?
No, this is good. Obviously, the last thing was foreign to me. It looks like Chinese, but it's good learning. I really appreciate the past few weeks we've had together. I've learned a lot of stuff, and I just hope that we'll continue to be in touch to find solutions for the things that we have every single day showing up in our lives.
Definitely. Yeah. So play around with this. I really enjoy doing this. I do a lot of fun stuff with Python, like word clouds. I like word clouds, like having all these multiple words put together. So like groups in which I am, like WhatsApp groups, you know, doing anniversaries and stuff like that, Christmas and so on. You can use the Christmas background tree, put everybody's picture or everybody's name on there, make it look nice, interesting. Those are all fun stuff you can do. You can automate all your work as well. You know, like I showed you guys earlier, the automation that I did for the trip that I have to take later on this summer, which I don't know if it's right here. Beautiful Soup. Beautiful Soup again is another library. I was able to request, import requests, and so on and so forth, pull everything, and then I was able to get just the tips that I needed. Printed out all the tips. I think it was 45 different tips. I can't remember what it said. All the tips of all the things I need to do when I go to Cedar Point to be able to have fun with kids. So yeah, these are all things that you can use to help yourself. And once I've done this, all I need to do is change the URL. If I change the URL, I can go ahead and, you know, call on any web page to pull out all the tags that are H3. So if I want to go on a web page and see all the different links of that web page, all I need to do is change this tag to A, and so on and so forth. And as you can see, it was able to actually download that. You know, it downloaded the HTML for me. If you open this file, this is the HTML file that resolves and gives you that particular web page. So the web page is being opened here, and you can see it picked up this one because it has that heading. It went ahead and picked up the next one, and so on and so forth, which would take me a lot of time to go through and see which are the things that I need to do. All I have to do is come in here, and it's all listed out. You can send this to yourself in a text message or whatever, email, and say, okay, guys, let's mark each one that has been done and so on. All right. Okay, so 3 minutes before I get to half hour above, and I'll keep in touch with you guys. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. I'll be uploading more stuff on there, and at some point in time, probably next month, depending on my schedule, we might get to jump into PowerShell and also a bunch of other things. I really encourage you to go ahead and take certifications wherever and whenever possible to prove that, you know, you're actually mastering all those things. So there are a bunch of other classes that will come in future if you have your friends that are interested, be it cybersecurity, data analytics, you know, a bunch of fundamentals tools. You can go to the website. I have a whole bunch of tools for those that are still trying to get into IT, those that are already in IT. If you go in there again, there was a webinar I did last year with a bunch of IT curriculum. As you can see, if you're trying to understand the difference between computer science, IT, and IS, there's a video there on YouTube. If you're trying to check out the career paths in IT, there's another video there on YouTube. If you're just getting the basics of hardware and software, that's also there. And what we described there in about 5 minutes, if you want a detailed version of that, you can check out the internet and web video and cybersecurity basics, database concepts, cloud computing, which we've just talked about as well, and so on and so forth. But for me, the heart is software programming. You know, all of this, you know, be it Python, C#, and so on, you can all do those. But when you have interviews, technical interviews, you need to brush up on a few technical terms, the ones that are confused and so on. You can also watch this video. It's 2 hours. Pick whichever session, whichever part of the session you want, and you should be good. So, I mean, you don't have to sit and watch it. Just listen in the background and you're good. Question, Nigel?
Yes, Prof. I just wanted to say, I was in North Carolina last week. Remember when I told you I was not in town?
Mm-hmm.
And I met a gentleman who was very interested when I told him about you, and he took your number. I'm not sure if he hit you up. I didn't remember.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check back. I'll check back with you then. He might have, you know, sometimes if I'm in class, I might not respond, but usually over the weekend, if I'm not in class, like right now, I won't be able to respond. So afterwards, I have to catch up with all my missed calls and missed texts.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
All right.
Sounds good. Anytime you have anyone you can recommend them, that's totally
Yes,
fine.
I did. He was very He was very much interested.
Yeah, I'm very happy to help. I need to see a lot more of us out there in the
Yeah.
field. Like, Bai is going to be having an interview on Tuesday at my job. Hopefully, he gets it, and it will be fun for us to work together.
Oh,
Later
nice.
on, yeah, later on in July, we have DevOps training that's starting, and you get paid to train at our company. And after that, you become an associate dev, and so on and so forth. So throughout this year, there's going to be a lot of other opportunities that come up every quarter. Yes, Mr. Aaron.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I left Cameroon when I was 20. I was
Yeah.
just hitting 20. I don't want to tell you how old I am right now, but I guess you can just guess, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
and some of the things that I have seen from just my experience, because I've been in the oil and gas now for 11 years, right?
Nice.
As a permanent staff, two of those, like, so altogether, I would say 13, 14 years, right?
Yes.
But what I see lacking in our community is something like this, right? That network where people of similar mind can come together to create a network that could help one another,
Yeah.
right? That's what I think it's really really missing in the Cameroonian community in general. And I just want to say again that what you're doing is not just you know, teaching people how to do stuff, but it is actually inspiring people to do things on their own,
True.
because that is where the key is. Funny story for me. I left GHS Lime. I did a bunch of stuff on physics high school. I went to Germany and I saw a conveyor belt. I couldn't recognize it, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it was, but it was just cars getting off the production line and driving on their own.
Yes.
I was just looking at this stuff. I'm like, what is this? But this is what I learned when I was
Exactly.
in physics in high school. But I had no clue because I never saw one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So this network of people of like mind, doing practical stuff, for me, that is what can really propel us as individuals
Yeah.
and as a group of Cameroonians to kind of realize the potentials that we have that is always hidden in us.
Yeah.
Right. So
True.
thank you for everything you're doing.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. My eyes have been opened up a lot to, every week. I mean, I teach so many people every week at work, and I look back at where I come from. I'm like, if only we could have half of this, not even half, like 10% of this. We could. I mean, it's amazing the depth of resources we have, not just physical resources, mental resources. I see so many smart kids back home, smart kids everywhere, but our focus is shifted. Obviously, we have to deal with survival before you start having the basic necessities, and then you start thinking of propagation. But once we get there, we'll get there. We'll definitely get there. It's one step at a time. We just have to keep paying it forward, and sharing is caring. So this is going to go a long way. It's just one step at a time. Eventually those little drops of water will make that mighty ocean that we're looking forward to. All right, so it is way over time. Thank you all for sharing, and don't be a stranger. Hit me up anytime you need assistance. Sounds good? All right.
Thank you, Prof.
See you
Appreciate this.
guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll see you later.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.